Hey, good morning to you. How is everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Hey, you listen to OZZz on Smash Bros. Radio. Smash Bros. Radio is the only digital radio station located where? In Birmingham and Jefferson County. Hey, we appreciate you. Hey, if you have not done so, please like, share, follow on us. You can find Smash Bros. On Instagram. You can find Smash Bros. On Facebook. And you can find us also on YouTube. So please, if you have not done so, please like, follow, share, subscribe. We appreciate you tremendously. Also, you can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. And, of course, you can find me on Instagram. We appreciate you for stopping in today. Hey, we hope that you had a wonderful weekend. We hope that it was productive. We hope that it was fun. We hope that you enjoyed yourself. Just chilling out. I did a lot of yard work, and so I've been taking it easy. If those of you who know, the months of April and May, I don't do too well on. Those are the birthdays of my mom and my grandma. And then, of course, with Mother's Day being in May, too, that didn't help. I was fine up until the 19th. And then it hit me that if my mom had lived, she would have been 80 years old on the 19th. So I got kind of down. So those of us, those who suffer from depression and anxiety can pretty much understand and empathize with the darkness, as I call it. So I had to get up and walk. And so let me bring you up to date. I've been walking. In the mornings, I'll walk a mile. And then in the afternoons, I'll walk 2 miles. So I try to at least get 3 miles in each day. And that helps me mentally. That helps me also when it comes to my health. The last checkup that I had, the labs came back. Everything looked good. The cholesterol was finally good. I had lost 4 pounds, so that was good. Also, kidneys are stable, liver is functioning properly, and my A1C had went from 507 to 504, I think it was, and that was after 3 weeks of walking. So, and then before that, the annual, 3 months, quarterly, whatever you want to call it. She told me that I was diabetic, and so she put me on diabetic medicine, which I have not, and I will not take, nor would I. So those things that I can control, I'm going to control. For me, I can control the diabetes. I can control my weight. I can control my blood pressure. So those things that personally, I don't understand why there are individuals who have diabetes or why there are individuals who have hypertension. Now, diabetes and hypertension, they run in my family. So I knew to be aware and cautious of my lifestyle because of those two conditions. So, but I knew that the last physical, the physical before last, I think it was in December, that I was drinking. I had been drinking a lot of moonshine, and so it was lemon moonshine. So those of you who drink moonshine, you can add fruit to your moonshine to get the flavor that you want. So I don't know why, but I was just drinking too much moonshine. So when the results came back that I was a diabetic, it scared the hell out of me. But I kind of knew why I was at that stage because I was drinking moonshine like it was water. So when she told me about that, and then she put me, I don't know what type of diabetic medicine, but I read the side effects, and the side effects were worse than, I don't know, it's kind of frightening. If you have not done so, please check the side effects of the medicine that you're taking, and you will be horrified to find out that the after effects are sometimes 10 times worse than the condition that you are taking the medicine for. So because of me having myasthenia gravis, I'm already taking medicine that affects my liver and my kidneys. So I'm not going to take anything else that's going to add any type of complications when it comes to my liver or when it comes to my kidneys. So I started walking, and that was, 2 weeks, 3 weeks I was walking. And so I had lost, I think, if I remember correctly, 4 pounds. And so that was good. And then when I got the result, that's when it came back that the F1C or whatever it is had gone from 5.7 to 5.4. So that was good. So I'm walking already. So I was doing fine, and I don't know what made me look at the calendar. I think it was because I had my the dental appointment to check on the oral surgery, and that's when it hit me that the 19th, Mama would have been 80 years old. And see, I wasn't going to walk because I didn't feel like it. But when I found out that the 19th was my mom's birthday, I got kind of, I got depressed. I got depressed. I'm going to try to be as transparent and honest with you because, see, we have this stigma that we're supposed to be ashamed that if we have mental illness. And there's a stigma that needs to be erased, that needs to be abolished, because there is nothing wrong with what we have, especially if we can't control it, especially if we're not the one provoking or whatever. So we have to get the stigma out of our heads that we are not healthy per se because you have mental illness. Depression and anxiety is real, folks. It is extremely real. And we have to accept the fact that it's real. We have to accept the fact also that we're not the only ones going through this. There are others that have gone through it. I'm sure that most of you have family members that are suffering from some type of illness. And we need that support from those that are in our circle. I hate the word sympathy because I think that it's a cheap way for individuals to ease their conscience. That, well, I sympathize with you. Well, I don't want you to sympathize with me. I want you to understand or try to understand or understand that you don't know. And I appreciate you being honest with me and letting me know that I don't understand, but know that I'm praying for you. I can handle that, but don't use the word sympathy with me because I think that you really don't give a happy goddamn how I'm feeling. So you're easing your conscience. So that way I can sympathize with you. How in the fuck can you sympathize with me when you're not even accepting that I have this issue, I have this problem? So those who are going through this or those family members who have members, you pretty much understand exactly the pain and the agony that an individual goes through. So when this darkness hit me, I knew exactly what I had to do. The first time I experienced the darkness, it came unexpectedly, and I don't know why it came up, and I gave in to it, and I sheltered myself, ostracized myself. It was I closed the drapes and the blinds, and I closed the door, and I just gave in, and then something hit that you need to stop this. You have enough of strength, and you have enough of tenacity. You need to put this at bay. So I cried out. I said, I can't stop. And it went away. So I knew what was about to occur. But I had a fear that if I gave in to it this time, I might not be able to get out of it. So I said, well, fuck this. I can't, I don't, I got too much going on. I got too much going on that I have to take control as much as possible for this. So I figured that, well, shit, you need to walk. So I walked, and then something hit me while I was walking that, well, you were supposed to have walked this morning, but because of your dental appointment, you didn't have time to. So you might need to add another mile so that way you could get your 3 miles in. Now, because of having myasthenia gravis, I have to be extremely cautious on what I do with the amount of medicine that I take. If I'm extremely active, I know to double up on the medicine. If I know that I'm not going to be as active, I know that one dose is going to be adequate for me. So I doubled up on the dose so that way I was able. But I think that if I had no, because that would have been too much medicine. So I just thought about it. I did correctly. But I was thinking that if I had doubled up again, that it would allow me to do 4 miles. But I did what was right. I did. So I was able to do the 3 miles. And I felt better. I've learned that when each day is unpredictable when it comes to me. Sometimes I can plan ahead, especially when it comes to a doctor's visit, when it comes to any activity that I have with my godmom. I can plan for those. When there aren't any what I call major appointments or events, such as going to my godmom's, or when I have a doctor's appointment, a dental appointment, or something like that, it's unpredictable. I have to go with how I feel. In my case, is better for me, and I guess coming from being a teacher, it's better for me to have some type of schedule planned for that day. And so generally when I get up and I turn the lights on. I turn the lights off. Outside. I turn the fountains on. Then I go in and I wash my face. I brush my teeth. Put on the clothes, and then I walk in the yard. I have a yard that has flowers. So I go around. Those of you who are gardeners understand. Every morning I go out and I check to see exactly what's new in the yard. So see, I'm getting the walk in early, and plus two, that is pretty much stretching to get ready to do the mile walk. So, and then I plan for the day to accomplish at least one thing, have one thing to get accomplished for that day. If by chance I'm able to achieve two, well, then that's good. But I've learned that I have to maintain what I do. Because see, I'm not going to take the medicine that has been prescribed for me. Makes me sleep a lot. And the last time the darkness came, I think I slept for 2 days. I slept for 2 days. I was exhausted mentally. So I will not allow myself to reach that point again to where I wasted 2 days. So depression and anxiety is real. Pre-COVID is nothing compared to what we're going through now, post-COVID. And I think that some type of research should be done to find the effects of post-COVID. See, before COVID, we had a norm. It had already been established years before, so we were familiar with this norm. We were familiar with how we were to function as a society. How to function as a family, as a unit. When it came to work, when it came to school, when it came to socializing. So when COVID occurred, it slapped the hell out of us because we weren't familiar. We had not experienced anything like this, especially my generation. See, during your grandparents' and your great-grandparents' days, and possibly your parents' day, there were certain occurrences or certain events that happened sporadically. It wasn't like a domino effect, like what happened with COVID. It was separated. You had the Dust Bowl. You had the Great Depression. You had the Revolutionary War. You had the Civil War. You have all these other wars. You know, it was sporadic, and they were not in. And let me tell you, I know that they were not put in. They were not put in line. But see, it was spaced out. Then you had the polio effect. You had the outbreak of polio. You had that mind changing. That's why you had the booster. I'm 63 years old, so there was a booster shot that you were supposed to have that left a mark, an implant on your arm. And I think I still have it. I haven't seen it. But we have that where we had the booster that it marked us. So then we have COVID, and COVID slapped the shit out of us. Not only did it do that, but it knocked the wind out of us. Then it gave us a Birmingham CAG. It knocked the feet from under us. And it was all at once. It's like watching, you have this demolition team that comes in to take down a building or to take down a structure. And you hear boom, 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 boom. And you see the different levels of when the building or structure starts falling. And then all of a sudden there's this huge bang because the top from the bottom finally hits the bottom and boom. Well, see, that's how COVID was. See, our government failed us during COVID. Our government is failing us now. Because if the government has stepped in like the government was supposed to have stepped in, we would not have these side effects from COVID. But see, you had greedy ass motherfuckers that were running. You had inexperienced individuals, incapable individuals. Just because you're a businessman does not mean that you can run the government. Two different entities may have some type of methods, methodology, or whatever, but it's two different things. There is a process. There's a protocol that you have to follow when it comes to government. Some of it may be similar to that running a business, but it's not the same. So if the government had performed its function like it was to have, the government could have closed us down, could have closed the United States down. It could have provided financial assistance to all of its citizens with the understanding that eventually you know that your bills are going to have to be paid, and those individuals that you owe are going to have to give you time to pay. They cannot all of a sudden just ask you for your money. See, they could have done that. You have the rich, the 10% that is not being taxed effectively, that could have handled the funding of all the citizens. The small businesses would have been able to continue functioning, or they would have been given a non-interest loan so that way they could get back on their feet. There were ways that the pandemic could have been handled effectively and effectively. Then you had schools that were closed. And the kids are already antisocial as it is because they do not go outside. Now all of a sudden they're staying home. But in the good point, it allowed the school systems to utilize technology, because there's no reason for us to have snow days. Because if there's a day that students could not go to school, well, then you do long distance. They've been doing it in colleges. You have this huge auditorium where all the students go, and 9 times out of 10, the students never see the professor because he or she's across the campus in a station. Doing the class on the screen, and then you have a graduate assistant there. So it can be done, and colleges have been doing it for years. So there isn't any reason why it couldn't have been done now. You have long distance schools now where here in Alabama, if you have what they call the wiregrass counties that are not allowed or do not have the funding to have certain classes such as foreign language and all, you have a certified teacher that is hired by the state that would do long distance learning. So it can be done, but it has not been utilized effectively by the school systems. So when you have all of this, and now you're worried about how are you going to function, especially if you're parents, bravo, standing ovation. Because I don't understand how you are functioning the way that you are functioning because of all these bombardments that are hitting you. And you're doing fantastic, and you are appreciated. Standing ovation to you. I cannot imagine what it's like. You have kids in junior high school, elementary school, graduating from high school, going to college. Then you have all these extracurricular activities. And we already were suffering from anxiety and depression as it is. Now we have this bombardment. How are we going to take care of my family? Where am I going to get this food from? Where am I going to get these resources from? So now it's compounded. Then you have a shortage of the foods. Shelves are empty because of transportation. Because the transportation that we have is antiquated. It's never been brought up to par. Some of what we were experiencing should have been rectified years ago. Someone should have been monitoring what is going to happen with transportation. How are we going to get the food supply to the proper places effectively? So see, you have pre-COVID. Now you have post-COVID, and we have a new norm. There is no longer a norm, folks. No matter how bad we wish for the old to come back, it's not going to come back. There's no similarities between the past and now because we're still feeling the effect of it. And it has damaged education tremendously, far more than what is being acknowledged. So now you have an increase of depression, these mental illness. And if you've never gone through once you are diagnosed with some type of mental illness and prescriptions, medicines are prescribed, there is a trial and error time because they're trying to find exactly what portion or amount of medicine and what type of medicine is going to help you function as best as possible. So not only is an individual going through this pain and agony, this suffering, but now they're going to have to 10 times it because now they're going through this medicine that's either going to send them close to the edge or knock them out like a zombie. And sometimes people feel that, well, it's not even worth me going through this, and so they end it because it becomes overpowering and they don't want to deal with it no more. So you do the best that you can. For me, it's getting active. For me, it's working in the yard. My salvation was when Ralph, the owner of Smash Bros. Radio, gave me an opportunity to have the show. He does not know how he saved my life by allowing me to have this morning show. He doesn't know. He does not understand. He does not know the impact that he brought positively to my life because of the show. Now, when I was younger and we would have these moments of anxiety that were so overpowering, the 18, there were 9 aunts and 9 uncles. They built this, I call it a stress wall, but it's called the damn plates. And what they did, they built this wall, and it's similar to, if you play tennis, it's similar to a wall with tennis, similar to tennis. It's plywood that's put up. And my aunts would go to these thrift stores and buy up these cheap china. They would buy the cups, the saucers, the plates, the salad plates, mixed glasses. And when it came to being overpowering, when it came to the point that we felt as if we were drowning, we called them the damn plates. So we would gather these plates up, and we would throw the plates up against the wall, and we would scream, and we would shout, and we would cry, and we do it until we were so emotionally drained that we started crying. And it was a cry of release. It was a cry of joy, because we were getting all of this negativity, all this pressure off of us. And then we would collapse. That's why I think that there should be some type of program to where, if you are in therapy, that the therapist will have a place that they could prescribe to their patients, that they have this huge warehouse that's divided into different units, different sections, and each section will have different things. You have a beat up car, you have breakables, you have numerous, multiple things that you can bust, that you can beat up. And you would go into this place, and it'd be soundproof, and you would just scream, and you would shout, and you would just beat up, and you would just break, and you just release all this stress. Because some of us don't have anyone that we could talk to, nor do we have anyone that we trust enough that we can go to and talk to. So depression is real. Anxiety is real. Mama had depression. Mama had been with Daddy for so long that, for whatever reason, I remember during Halloween, Mama tried to commit suicide, and my aunt had to take us to trick or treating. I've had several cousins that committed suicide, or several relatives that committed suicide because of the stress, because of the monster. And it's not, it does, and sometimes it comes from outside, but the majority of the time it comes from relatives. Because you're always going to have that one individual who thinks they're better than everybody else. That's going to be the bougie who knows everything. And there's always going to be some type of competition between everybody. And then, because of whatever transpired in the family, and then you go off to work, and the stress from the work, and then the workplace, and the entities that you have to deal with there is bombarded by what you have to deal with, these individuals who's supposed to be blood. It just becomes overpowering. And it's not that an individual is weak. It's just that that individual feels they didn't have a way out. And that is the most draining, the most exhausting feeling, to know that there is no other way for me to deal, and I want the pain to stop. And it's not being selfish, per se. You're trying to remedy your pain. And it is an undescribable pain. The people use the examples of being held underwater, and you can't breathe, and you're gasping. It's worse than that. There's a darkness that envelops you, that hugs you tight. It's similar to when you watch Henry Potter. What were those little the spirits and all that would suck the happiness out? It's something like that. It sucks the life out of you. You feel helpless. You feel drained. You feel exhausted, mentally, physically, spiritually. It's indescribable. You want help, but you don't want to go nowhere. You want help, but you don't want to leave the house. You want to talk, but you don't want to talk. You want to be left alone. And here, being having the chance to have the morning show and being able to meet all these talented individuals that are associated with the music industry here in Birmingham, it is amazing how, from my interpretation, from my witness, that the most talented individuals, the ones who are always smiling, the ones who are always upbeat, the ones who seem that they are so happy and elated and joyous and gay and enjoy, are the ones that are in the most pain. They have a mask. They have a facade. And usually it's the strongest one in the family. But what happens when the strongest one in the family needs a shoulder? And they don't have a shoulder because they have portrayed this image that they have everything together. You don't want to let anybody down and let them know that I'm normal and I'm not okay. And see, we have got to get it in our heads that it is okay not to be okay. It is okay not to be okay. It is okay not to be okay. The weakest can also be the strongest at times. The strongest can be the weakest at times. Some have to take medicine. I can't. I won't. Not at this point. As long as I can control it, as long as I have the ability to change my lifestyle, I'm going to do what I can do, what I have control over. And sometimes you have to be put on medicine. Depression and anxiety is as different as the individuals that are affected by it. One med does not fit all situations, all circumstances, all individuals. But it's okay not to be okay. We're not superhumans. We're humans. I believe in hugs. I've always believed in hugs. I believe in the strength of a hug as much as I believe in the strength of prayers. Ain't nothing like a hug. Nothing like a hug. One of those good old-fashioned Southern hugs. Ain't nothing like it. Ain't nothing like one. Ain't nothing like one of those great aunts or aunts that just hug you and your nose is in the middle of their breast. Them breasts are the most comforting pillows you can have, especially when you're going through hell. When you're told, I appreciate you. I don't understand what you're going through, but I'm trying to understand and know that I love you. Can't get any better. Can't get any better. I believe in hugs. I believe in the power of hugs. I believe in the power of prayers. I believe in the power of the village. I believe. When I was diagnosed with myasthenia in 1981, I was just starting out as being the mascot of Alabama State University. And then I started having problems. Long story short, I woke up and I couldn't walk. And so my grandmother took me to Dr. Hamp Green and he went through these different tests because it was borderline. It was either myasthenia gravis, multiple sclerosis, or some type of cancer. So technically, they ruled out myasthenia gravis because supposedly most of the individuals are black females. And needs to say I'm not black and I'm not female. So they really ruled myasthenia out. But long story short, they found out that I did have it, and they gave me 6 weeks to a year to live. That was devastating. I was 21, 22 years old. I was a mascot. I was lifting weights. I was looking damn good. Had hair down to my shoulders. Was going to Tuskegee. Brava Baker was my stylist. Her grandmother, Mrs. Pinkert, had a beauty shop right across from the old Tuskegee High School. And everybody in Macon County would bring the children, would go to Mrs. Pinkert to find out how to get their child's hair to grow. And Mrs. Pinkert would get the hair to grow. Mrs. Pinkert did not believe in putting these chemicals in babies' hair. Well, she never believed in the chemicals anyway. But especially if a child, you would never put the harmful chemicals in a baby's hair. So I was diagnosed with myasthenia gravis. That devastated me. I was hurt. But see, I had an authentic grandmama. I had a grandmama who made me go to church. I had a grandmama who knew the power of prayers. I had a grandmama, because of her prayers, saved me, protected me. So we sat at the breakfast table, and she said that he doesn't have the last word. He can only tell you from his standpoint as a doctor, but he doesn't have the last say. I want you to go to your room. I want you to pray earnestly. I want you to pray from your heart. I want you to pray like you've never prayed before. I want you to ask for guidance. I want you to ask for understanding. I want you to ask for strength. So I did. I went in and I prayed. I don't know what is happening. I don't know what to do. I know that I'm hurt. I know that I'm confused. I know that I need some type of substance. I need something that I can feel comfort in. I need understanding. I need strength. I need guidance. And I know that you are the source to guidance, to understanding, to strength. And I believe, I may not act like it, but I believe, I know that you can do what I'm asking. So I'm asking. I need help. I need help. Give me strength. Give me courage. Give me understanding. Help me. I got up and I went back to the breakfast table. And my grandmother said, we're not going to speak on this again. She said, you've given it to him. You leave it with him. We don't speak of it no more. When you see negativity entering, you kick it out. You push it out. You do not allow it to come in, to develop. Because when you pray, it's done. It's done. When you pray your prayer, it's done. He has it. He's going to take control. He's got it. He's going to do what he has to do. Now, he's going to do it in his own time. But understand, he knows what you want. You've asked. And he's going to do. So you leave it alone. But see, sometimes We give it to him, and then we take it back because we allow this negativity to come in, and we talk about it. And as we talk about it, we bring it back up. So we've taken it away from him. And we put human terms. You cannot put human terms on the God that you serve. He's not human. He has his own time. He has his own place. He has his own way of doing things. You prayed, you've done, you leave it alone. You claim it. And so since 81, I'm here. 40-something years. I'm still here. So I believe in prayer. I believe in hugs. And I know that he's in control always. He won't do it on my time. I wish that he would. But he don't. He don't do it. He has his own way. And you got to, if you pray, you got to believe. See, that's why I keep saying they have not taken prayer out of school, because I used to pray all the time when the kids were in the classroom and said, Lord, please give me strength because they're getting on my goddamn nerves. Please, Lord, pray for me. Give me strength. Give me understanding. Give me integrity. So, see, they haven't taken prayer out of school. That's a myth. No one can stop you from praying. There's a time and a place for everything. And those who said that they have, well, then if you want to go by the Bible, let's go by the Bible, because there's a verse in the Bible that says that when you pray, you go to your own place and you pray by yourself. You don't pray publicly. Now, if you're praying to bring focus to yourself, well, then your prayer is useless. It's useless. So they haven't taken prayer out of school. You can pray anytime you want to pray, but you better not pray while I'm in front of you trying to give you a lecture or trying to give you assignments. Because you can pray right now saying, I wish he would sit his ass down. But they haven't taken prayer out of school. Don't believe that shit. Prayer has never been taken out of school. So you have to believe. You have to believe. And unfortunately, there is a disparity to Mental Health America, how race matters, what we can learn from Mental Health American screening in 2020. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Mental Health America has witnessed unprecedented numbers of people who come to its website, www.mhaascreening.org, to take a voluntary free anonymous mental health. From January to December of 2020, a total of over 2.6 million people completed a mental health screen. Part of the mission of the MHA online screening program is to further data-driven upstream to collect data in real time as people actively taking screens. The following analysis, the race, ethnicity, demographics of anxiety and depression screening has shifted in 2020 compared to the 2019 average. In 2020, Asians or Pacific Islander screenings make up 17% of the anxiety and depression, compared to 10% in 2019. Rates of moderate to severe anxiety continue to be much higher than the 2019 average for screeners. The proportion of people scoring with moderate to severe symptoms of anxiety was highest among Native Americans or American Indian screeners. The largest increase in the population of people scoring to moderate to severe anxiety between 2019 and 2020 was identified as other and Pacific. Blue Cross Blue Shield, racial disparities in diagnosis and treatment of major depression. People worldwide are suffering with mental health challenges now more than ever. Social distances and remote work and school have translated into emotional distancing for many. The pandemic has modified the challenges at home and abroad, and some racial and ethnic groups suffer disproportionately. Qualifying the extent of racial and ethnic inequalities in mental health can help us better understand how to address them. Key findings: major depression goes undiagnosed and untreated at proportionately greater rates in majority Black and Hispanic communities, leading to unnecessary suffering. The pressure of more mental and behavioral health providers in Black and Hispanic communities is associated with a higher diagnosis rate for major depression. This suggests that increased access to these providers could mitigate the undiagnosis of major depression in these communities. Rates of treatment for major depression are lowest in Hispanic communities and lower in Black communities than in white communities. When treated for major depression, Black and Hispanic communities have a lower frequency of both prescription drug treatment and counseling. Survey findings show that Blacks and Hispanic respondents are more likely to seek information on mental health outside of the healthcare system to prefer providers with similar experiences and perceive greater stigma about mental illness in the communities. The rate of diagnosed major depression increased steadily from 2016 to 2019 and leveled off in 2020. The prevalence of diagnosed major depression is 31% lower for majority Black communities and 39% lower for majority Hispanic communities than for white communities. The Center for Disease Control and Prevention's National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey found that Black and Hispanic respondents had equal or higher rates of depression than whites. Similarly, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration National Survey on Drug and Health found that more Black and Hispanic individuals reported a moderate to severe impact from depression. Responses to a recent Blue Cross Blue Shield Association survey of 2,700 adults suggested greater social stigma around mental health issues in Black and Hispanic communities may influence a person's likelihood to seek care. 54% of Black respondents and 47% of Hispanic respondents reported that individuals with mental health conditions in the communities are looked down upon. That was the perception of only 38% of white respondents. Such perceived stigma combined with the structural racism that prevent historically marginalized communities from receiving equitable treatment may compound the difficulty for asking for help. Increase access to mental health care providers for Black and Hispanic communities associated with major depression diagnosis rates more similar to those. Specifically, increased access to mental health providers is associated with a threefold higher relative increase of major depression diagnosis for Black communities and a fourfold higher increase for Hispanic. Overall, the rate of prescription drug treatment for those diagnosed with major depression has declined from 64% in 2018 to 59% in 2020, whereas counseling rates have remained steady. There are prescription drugs and counseling utilization differences when stigmatized by race and ethnicity. We got to do better. We got to do better. And we can do better. We can do better. We can do better. We have to understand that we have an issue. We have to understand there is a problem. We have to understand that there are avenues that have to be more accessible, more readily accessible. But you're looking between 10 to 20 years that are remaining that we're going to have to deal with this post-COVID. And people are saying, what? Yeah. 10 to 20 years, conservatively speaking. So what? I'm 63 now. In 20 years, I'll be 83. Frightening. So if you have a child that is 15 years old, they'll be 35. If you're 40, you'll be 60 years old. So we have to finally accept that we are in a despairing condition. We are in a troubling time. And now and then, because of Congress acting a fool when it comes to the debt ceiling, does not help matters much. Because those of us who are on fixed income, we have a fear now that we're going to lose one of our checks. See, it takes 2 checks for me to run my household. I have teachers' retirement and I have Social Security. So now I have to plan now. So just in case the Congress does not get off of its ass and does what is responsible, I have to find out, how do I make ends meet with 1 check? Which means that mortgage, truck, insurance, utilities are going to have to be paid. Everything else is going to have to be done away with. And understand that didn't include medicine. And because of having Social Security disability, I can't make any extra money. Because from the government standpoint, all they see is that, well, you're earning income. But sitting in the studio isn't compared to being with the stress or the pressure of going to a school to teach. But it doesn't matter from the government standpoint. I can't work. Depression and anxiety is real, people. And we have to accept that fact. We have to stop looking down on those individuals that are going through this. Because 98% of us we don't put this shit on us. We would rather be left alone when it came to this. Now, we're still functioning, but you don't know the pain that we're going through. Months of April and May, I don't deal well. I don't deal well. But I'm learning how to do. Because see, death, you never get over the death. You never get over the death. You just learn how to cope, how to modify. You learn how to deal with the pain and the pain not dealing with you. And there's this stupid thing where you've already you have to mourn for you. It's left up to the individual. Some individuals never get over. But depression is real. And we have to understand, we have to accept it. We have to be the strength to those who need it. We have to have that shoulder for those that need it. We have to have those hugs for those that need it. Get active. Walk. Get active. Do something. Paint. Build your wall. Value those plates. Throw those plates against the wall. Scream, shout, holler, cry. And cry. Cry. But listen, when you feel it coming, do this for me. Do this for me. I want you to sit in a chair and close your eyes. And if you can, do that. Sit in a chair and breathe. Raise your hands, arms above your head, and do a good stretch. And then inhale. Hold it. Then exhale. Inhale. Hold it. Exhale. The last one, inhale deeply. Hold it. Exhale. Now, if you have done this correctly, you're going to yawn. and make it a part of your routine in the morning. Sit on the edge of your bed. Relax. Get in a chair. Relax. Close your eyes. Just breathe normal. Then raise your arms above your head. Stretch. Deep stretch. And take your deep breath. Inhale. Hold it. Slowly exhale. Repeat. Deeper. Exhale. Again. Deeper. Inhale. Hold it. Exhale. Again. And if you've done it correctly, you're going to yawn. I believe in Tai Chi. I think that's the name of it. That what is it? Is a Chinese exercise. It's a way. It teaches you how to breathe, and it releases stress. But depression is real, people. Anxiety is real. Mental health is real. Individuals around you that are the most hyper, the most fun, the most exciting, the ones that's always smiling, the one that's upbeat, 9 times out of 10, they're in the most pain. Show appreciation. Let individuals know how much you love them, how much you appreciate them, how much you cherish them, adore them. Give them a hug. Hug somebody today. Hug somebody today. Shock the hell out of them. Hug somebody today. I don't mean to go up to a perfect stranger because then this thing is sexual. No, I ain't talking about that. Or you could ask, can I give you a hug? You look like you need a hug. Can I give you a hug? And 9 times out of 10, they say, I do need it. And don't be surprised that they start crying. And when they cry, you hold them tight. You let them know that you're going to be all right. I got you. You got this. And I love it. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all tremendously. Y'all have a fantastic Monday. Know your value. Know your worth. Know that you control everything about you. And most importantly, know that I love you more than I love my luggage. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Y'all take care. The live stream on the show. On the show. The live stream. On the show. The live stream. The live stream on the show.